Now, let us get start with Accounting Standard 21, which is something called as work consolidation. Consolidation of financial statement. So this standard gives us some sort of guidelines. This standard says, how do I consolidate the financial statements of something called as holding company and subsidiary company? We will get into S21, but before that we need to understand first of all what is the meaning of holding company and what is the meaning of subsidiary company, and is this mandatory as per Companies Act to prepare a set of consolidated financial statement, for whom this standard is mandatory. So that's what is the first and foremost thing we need to understand. First, let us take the reference to section 2 subsection 46 of Companies Act. Section 2 subsection 46 of the Companies Act 2013. Of the Companies Act 2013 tries to define something called as a holding company. So what this section says? This section clearly says you holding company. What is the meaning of holding company? Holding company, it says in relation. Holding company in relation. Holding company in relation to one or more. That means here you are comparing one or more. That means company A, company B, company C, one or more. So I am comparing H Limited with three different companies or more than one companies in relation to one or more companies, one or more other companies, not the same companies, one or more other companies. Okay, means the other companies or subsidiary company, and this company is said to be called as holding company. We cannot understand even a single line by looking at the definition. So what that tries to say? This tries to say holding company is trying to exercise some sort of control in one or more companies. A simple way I can define the holding company is what? This word control plays a very vital role. So exercising control, any company which exercises control either on one or more than one, then I can say the company exercising control is said to be called as holding company. Say H Limited is there. H Limited is exercising control on S Limited. So H Limited is exercising control on one company, which is something called as our S Limited. So as H Limited is able to exercise some sort of control, what we'll call? We will call H Limited as holding company. And as I am exercising control on some other company, that other company will be something called as the subsidiary company. Section 2 subsection 46 defines the term called as holding company. Now, is it clear? Any company which exercise some sort of control. What is that control? That we'll discuss. That will going forward we'll try to discuss. Okay, let me explain it now itself. Control in two terms. One, in capital, in share capital, in share capital. If H Limited is holding more than 50% of the share capital, so ultimately I can say H Limited is going to exercise some sort of control. So control in terms of share capital, controls in the terms of decision making, controls in the terms of profits. So how I can control the decision making? Through board of directors. If H Limited is appointing the board of directors of S Limited, or the board of directors of H Limited or also the board of directors of S Limited, then ultimately what will happen? Control. I can say there exists a control. So H Limited holding more than 50%. H Limited is holding at least 51%. Then I can say control exists. Or let us see like this. H Limited is having 4 board of directors: Director A, Director B, Director C, and Director D. These are the 4 board directors of H Limited. And there is another company called as S Limited. In this S Limited, what is happening? There are 3 directors. Director A, Director B, Director E. So now the directors in H Limited are also the directors in S Limited, and there are a majority of 3 directors. 2 directors are from H Limited. So ultimately I can control the decision making. I can have a control in the profits. So then also I can call that as a control exists. So as control exists, we'll call that as a holding company. And the other company will be said to be called as a subsidiary company. So exercising control is one of the most important point. Now, what is the meaning of a subsidiary company? We are now aware. Any company, if it is holding more than at least 51% of the capital in you, you will be called as a subsidiary company. If the other company's board of directors, majority of them are controlling your company's decisions, you will be called as a subsidiary company. Now, for that, we need to take a reference of section 2 subsection 87 of Companies Act 2013. Now what it says, it says that subsidiary company is a company in relation, subsidiary company in relation to what? In relation to any other company, in relation to any other company means what? Means in which. So what is the meaning of subsidiary company? Subsidiary company in relation to any other company. That means I will call you as a subsidiary of H Limited if holding company, if what? Holding company. Let us see. If holding company, what the holding company is doing? Either control composition of board of directors. Of 3 directors in S Limited, 2 directors are the directors which are appointed by H Limited or which are the directors of H Limited. So controlling the composition of the directors, or the second point, the last point, or it says exercise control over at least 51%. At least, see, that's the act says more than 50%. So here, that is the reason we are exercising control over at least 51% of share capital. Any company which is holding 51% of your share capital, here H Limited is holding 51% of share capital of S Limited. H Limited will be called as holding and you will be automatically called as subsidiary. Now, here there is a provision for this. Not only the control is direct, the control can be indirect. So let me explain. Let me give an example here. So let me give an example. H Limited is holding 60% of share capital of S Limited. So ultimately, what is the consequences here? H Limited is a subsidiary holding company of S Limited. S Limited is a subsidiary of H Limited. That's what is the implication. Now let us consider S Limited holds 60% of shares in R Limited. So S Limited is a holding company of R Limited. R Limited is a subsidiary company of S Limited. And R Limited is deemed to be a subsidiary of H Limited also. I may be controlling you directly or I may be controlling you through my subsidiaries. R Limited is controlled through the subsidiary of H Limited. So the act says R Limited is directly a subsidiary of S Limited. R Limited is also called as a subsidiary of H Limited. I may be controlling you directly or I may be controlling you indirectly. So in those sort of circumstances, R Limited will also be called as a subsidiary of H Limited. That's what is the meaning of your holding company and subsidiary company. Again, in nutshell, any company which is holding control of what? Control of decision making, control of share capital. Share capital, when we speak, it should be more than 50%. More than 50%. Decision making means having control over board of directors, appointing the board of directors, and the board of directors are majority, then ultimately I can say you are having a control over decision making. So if any company is able to do these 2 things, that company is said to be called as holding company, and the other company on which holding company is exercising control is said to be called as subsidiary. So the element of control is the most important thing we need to understand. And here in the example what we have discussed, the control can be direct and the control can also be indirect. That's what is the definition of your holding company and subsidiary company as per section 246 of your Companies Act, section 2 subsection 87 of your Companies Act 2013. Okay, now is it mandatory? Is it mandatory? So for the mandatory part, if we look into section 129 subsection 3 again of Companies Act 2013, it says any company having one or more subsidiaries, any company having one or more subsidiaries, it is mandatory for them. So if you are having a subsidiary, as per Companies Act 2013's 129 subsection 3, it becomes mandatory for you to prepare something called as, to apply something called as consolidated financial statements. Whenever you are supposed to apply consolidated financial statements, I need to apply something called as our accounting standard 11, sorry, AS 21. I need to apply something called as AS 21. AS 21 gives us the guidelines on preparation of something called as CFS, Consolidated Financial Statements. It's a very large standard, but it's a very simple standard. Very simple. Now, consolidation. Let us now gradually get into something called as AS 21. It's very simple, mind you guys. AS 21 is very simple because what is the meaning of consolidation? The meaning of consolidation is nothing but addition. That's it. We are not doing anything, we are adding. What we are adding? Holding company balance sheet plus subsidiary company balance sheet is nothing but your consolidated financial statements. That's it. Take the balance sheet of holding company, take the balance sheet of the subsidiary company, add both, prepare one set of statement. That set of statement is something called as our consolidated financial statements. But when you are adding, what are the things which I need to add? What are the things which I should not add? That's it. If you know that, then consolidated financial statement is simply adding up your balance sheet. Now, let me take it to dummy balance sheet, one of the holding company and one of the subsidiary company. With the help of that, let me explain what are the things which you need to add, what are the things which you need not add, which you should not add. Now, let us see. Balance sheet, let me take a balance sheet of H Limited and let us assume this to be your holding company. See, as is an example, I am not preparing the balance sheet in Schedule 3. This is purely an example which I am discussing right now. Okay, so this is the balance sheet of H Limited. And let me draw up another dummy balance sheet of S Limited. Balance sheet of S Limited. Two balance sheets are there. One balance sheet for your holding company, another balance sheet for your subsidiary company. H is nothing but the holding company, S Limited is nothing but the subsidiary company. Now, let us build up here. Share capital. Share capital. What else I can have? Reserves and surplus I can have. Okay, share capital, reserves and surplus, non-current liabilities, current liabilities. That will be on the liabilities front. Asset side, you are having something called as tangible assets. You are also having something called as intangible assets. Tangible assets, intangible assets. Then what? Tangible, intangible. Then you will be having something called as your non-current investments. You may be having something called as non-current investments. Okay, let me make it short here. So we can draw both the balance sheet here itself. Yeah, fine. Now this is nothing but your liabilities front. Now tangible assets, intangible assets. Okay, tangible assets, and we are also having something called as intangible assets. Then we are having something called as your non-current investments, which are nothing but your long-term investments. Then comes your current asset. Same thing will be here also. Share capital you will be having, reserves and surplus you will be having, non-current liabilities and current liabilities, tangible assets, intangible assets, non-current investments you may be having or you may not be having. Let us consider current assets. So these are the total assets and liabilities of your balance sheet. Now let me fill this here. Share capital. Let us consider share capital of holding company be 5 lakhs. Reserves and surplus of holding company share capital is going to be 5 lakhs. 5 lakhs is the share capital. Now let us consider the reserves and surplus is going to be 2 lakhs. Now going to be 2 lakhs. Then what? Then my non-current liabilities, let us consider that to be 2 lakhs. Then let us consider your current liabilities to be 1 lakh. Now what is the total? 7, 9, 10. So ultimately the total of my liabilities is going to be something called as 10 lakhs is nothing but the total 10 lakhs. Now let us consider your tangible assets. Tangible assets you consider that to be 3 lakhs. Tangible assets you consider that to be 3 lakhs. Tangible assets is going to be 3 lakhs. Then let us consider intangible assets to be 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs. Then let us consider holding company has invested for 50% of the shares. Now let us consider, okay, let us consider holding company has acquired the investments in subsidiary company for 1,50,000. 1,50,000. We'll come to this. We'll come to this. So what the holding company has done, out of 10,000 shares of S Limited, this company has purchased 6,000 shares. Purchased 6,000 shares. So total number of shares are 10,000. Of this company has purchased 6,000 shares. For what value they are purchasing? 1,50,000 rupees they had purchased. Then the next element is something called as the current assets. Now current assets, what is the total? 6,50,000. Then what is the balancing figure? Let us consider the balancing figure to be what? 6,50,000. 3,50,000 is the balancing figure. Now the total balance sheet of H Limited holding company is nothing but 10 lakhs. That's what is nothing but the composition of the balance sheet. Now 10,000 shares, let us consider face value being 10 rupees. Let us consider the share capital of the subsidiary company be 1 lakh. 1 lakh. 1 lakh rupees. Let us consider the reserves and surplus. Let us consider the reserves and surplus to be what? Let me change this example here. This looks quite odd. Yeah. Here, let me consider this is being purchased for 1 lakh. 1 lakh. Or even less, 80,000. Let me consider this as 80,000. I'll tell you why I'm changing this later stage. Let me take this as 80,000. Then, or let us leave that to be 1 lakh only. So let us take this as 1 lakh. Now what will be my current assets here? My current assets will be what? 564. So ultimately my current assets is going to be something called as 4 lakhs is my current assets. Done with this. Now let us focus on the reserves and surplus here. Let us consider reserves and surplus of the subsidiary company being 2 lakhs. It is also having some non-current liabilities. Let us assume that to be 1 lakh. And let us consider it is having some non-current liabilities amounting to 2 lakhs. Now what is the total? 3, 4, 3, 4, 6. So the total liabilities of the subsidiary company is going to be 6 lakhs. Now let us consider the tangible assets they are having 4 lakhs and 2 lakhs is nothing but the current assets of the subsidiary company. Now this is nothing but the dummy balance sheet of your holding and subsidiary. So what I had done, what I had mentioned, consolidation is nothing but add up your holding company assets with the subsidiary company assets, add up the holding company liabilities with the subsidiary company liabilities. Now if I try to prepare something called as consolidated financial statements, now what I will do, I will just simply add up the assets and I will just simply add up the liabilities. Now let us start here. Fixed assets, tangible assets. What is the tangible assets? 3 lakhs. And what is the tangible assets of the subsidiary company? 4 lakhs. So what I will do, I'll just simply take the value of my tangible assets to be simply 7 lakhs. So I will just simply add up my assets. Then intangible asset. There is an intangible asset in the balance sheet of holding company, and here the intangible asset balance is 0. Then what I can do, 2 lakhs plus 0, the value of my intangible assets is 2 lakhs. See, I will be adding the assets, I will be adding the liabilities, but 3 things I should not add. What are those? This I should not add, this I should not add. Apart from investment of holding company in subsidiary, share capital of holding company in subsidiary, reserves and surplus, these 3 items I should not add. Apart from this, rest of the assets you can add, rest of the liabilities you can add. So I am not going to test the share capital of both the companies, not only holding. Even the share capital of subsidiary company should not be added. Even the reserves and surplus of the subsidiary company should not be added. Apart from these 3 things, rest you combine and you prepare your consolidated financial statements. Okay. Now, this I can consider. See, there is no issue with the share capital of the holding company. There is no issue with the share capital of the holding company. So this share capital of the holding company will not change. So what I can do, I will consider, in this case I won't add 5 lakhs plus share capital of subsidiary company should not be added. You should not consider 4 things rather. What? Share capital of subsidiary company should not be considered. Reserves and surplus of subsidiary company should not be considered. Investments of holding company in subsidiary should not be considered. And you should not also consider reserves and surplus, because going forward I'll explain there will be some sort of adjustment. So 4 factors will not be considered. What are those 4 factors? Share capital and reserves and surplus of subsidiary company, reserves and surplus of holding company, investments of holding company in subsidiary company. These 4 elements I should not touch. Apart from these 4 elements, remaining everything you add up and prepare a balance sheet. Now let us do that. Share capital. What is the share capital of the holding company? 5 lakhs. I won't add it here. I will consider only the share capital of holding company. That's it. Because I will explain. Later I will explain that. Now, what else? What else is there? Current assets. You are having something called as current assets. What is the current assets of holding? 4. What is the current assets of subsidiary? 2. So 4 plus 2, the total gives you 6 lakhs. So we have added that. Now, let us come here, something called as call your non-current liabilities, and you are also having something called as current liabilities. What is the total? Non-current liability for holding company is 2 lakhs, for subsidiary company is 1 lakh. Add up and take this as 3 lakhs. Current liability of holding company is 1 lakh, current liability of subsidiary company is 2 lakhs. Add that and take that as 3 lakhs. Now, have we not considered everything? Apart from this rather 4 elements, we had considered everything. Now I need to have a focus on this 3 elements. I will not come to this immediately. I will be having a focus on these 3 elements. Why we had left this out? The reason for this leaving this off is nothing but I will net off. Share capital will be adjusted with the investment. Why? Because if I add up, why we are not adding this and this, and why we are not considering the investment? See, it's very simple. If I considered my share capital as 6 lakhs and if I consider my investment in the asset side as 1 lakh, then ultimately what does it represent? You are having shares with yourself. That cannot be the case. Say 5 lakhs plus 1 lakh is the share capital of subsidiary. If I add up, my share capital is showing as 6 lakhs. Now in the asset side, I am having an investment of 1 lakh. So ultimately, Is that not something called as our intercompany adjustment? We'll call this as something called as our intercompany adjustment. So ultimately what I will do, as you holding company is having the part of the share capital, I won't consider share capital, I won't consider investments. Rather than that, I will adjust, I will offset. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to adjust this both. Now you tell me, I had mentioned that there are 10,000 shares, there are 10,000 shares in holding, sorry, in subsidiary company. Of this 10,000 shares, holding company is holding 6,000. Then what about the remaining 4,000? The remaining 4,000, see, total number of shares are 10,000. Of this 10,000, holding company is holding 6,000 shares. That means 4,000 shares is held by subsidiary company. Sorry, someone else. So this someone else will be someone called as minority interest. So now what happens? This 1 lakh is nothing but the cost of investments. Who is purchasing? Holding company is purchasing. But this 1 lakh compresses two components. Now I need to divide your share capital into two components. One for the holding company part, another for the minority interest part. So now what I have done, this share capital, I am not adding it directly. I need to adjust this with my investment. I need to adjust this with my investments. Now, what I will do? Share capital in the subsidiary company is going to be 1 lakh. Share capital of what? Subsidiary company is going to be 1 lakh. Now, of this 1 lakh, if I calculate the percentage, holding company is holding 60%, minority interest is holding 40%. 6,000 divided by 10,200, 4,000 divided by 10,200 gives you percentage. Now what I will do, 60% of share capital I will give that to holding company, 40% of the share capital will be given to someone called as minority. Now what is that calculation working out? 60,000 here, 40,000 here. So now what we have done, instead of adding this 1 lakh directly to the share capital of holding company, I had apportioned that into two parts. One is nothing but going to your holding company, another is going to something called as your minority. As you are holding 60%, you will be getting 60%. As a minority is holding 40%, minority will be getting 40%. So now I had taken the share of the holding company. Now I need to focus cost. Now here what I am doing, so holding company share of capital is 60,000. Okay, holding company share of capital is going to be 60,000. Now take the cost of investment. For this 60,000, what is the cost you are putting? So I am not going into the adjustments of pre-equation, post-equation, etc., etc. I am just trying to simple in a layman sense, as anyone, by looking at the balance sheet, how do we consolidate without any sort of adjustments? I will add one by one, pre-equation, post-equation, dividend from the pre-equation profits, dividend from the post-equation profits, bonus out of pre, bonus out of post, all these things gradually I will add. From the layman sense, consolidation means what? How I can consolidate, that's what I am going to explain right now. All the sort of adjustments one by one I will add. So here, for those people who are looking into this video as a revision part, I am just taking this assumption of my resistance and surplus as post. For those who are listening for the first time, you don't worry what is pre and what is post. I will explain this in detail gradually. From looking at the balance sheet without any sort of adjustments, a basic example of consolidation, I am just trying to give it to you without any sort of adjustments. That's it. Gradually, once you get this concept of consolidation, I will add one by one. We'll make the things going to be complicated by adding pre and post profits, pre-equation dividend, post-equation dividend, all these things I will add it gradually and we'll make a move. Now, here, what I have done, divided this into two components, one for the holding, one for the minority. Now I am taking the investments because these are the three things which I had not considered in the consolidation. So what I am doing, share capital of subsidiary, break that into two parts, holding, minority. Now for this 60,000, what this person has done, paid 1 lakh. So my cost of investment is something called as 1 lakh. I had paid more. I had paid more than what I am supposed to pay. I am supposed to pay 60,000, but I had paid more. Why? Because this is something called as our goodwill. So this part of calculation, I will again explain, no worries for this. Here, this part of calculation is something called as our cost of control. All these sort of things I will again explain. So here you are trying to calculate something called as our goodwill. So what is the goodwill here? 40,000 is nothing but the goodwill. So this goodwill I need to consider as my intangible asset. We'll come to that later stage. Now, we'll come to that. Now here, coming to now what else? Now what else we had left there? Reserves and surplus we had left there. Reserves and surplus of S Limited. What is the reserves and surplus of S Limited? 2 lakhs. Now what I need to do? This 2 lakhs, I should not add it directly to the holding company. I need to split this into two things. One for the H Limited holding company, another for the minority group. Holding company is holding 60%, minority is holding 40%. The reserves and surplus is going to be what? 2 lakhs is the reserves and surplus. So now this 2 lakhs, 60% and 40%. What is 60% of 2 lakhs? 60% of 2 lakhs is nothing but 1,20,000 will be going to the holding company and 80,000 will be going to the minority. 80% will be going to the minority. Now here already minority is having a share in the capital. What? Minority is having a share in the capital to the extent of 40,000. Minority is having a share in the profit to the extent of 40,000. Now, along with the 40, minority got share of profit. So, when I focus on minority interest, what I need to consider? Two things I need to consider as a minority. One, the first element is nothing but share capital of subsidiary company. Then, what is the next one? The next one is nothing but share of reserves and surplus of subsidiary company. So this plus this is the total which will be calling as your minority interest. Share of share capital was 40,000. Share of profit was reserves and surplus is going to be 80,000. Now total put together 40 plus 80, you are getting something called as 1,20,000. So 1,20,000 is nothing but the minority interest. Now, what is the reserves and surplus of what is the share of H Limited? Share of H Limited is 1,20,000. This will be going to reserves and surplus of H Limited. This will be going to something called as reserves and surplus of H Limited. Now, what was the reserves and surplus of H Limited? 2 lakhs. Now, what I have to consider? If I want to take reserves and surplus of H Limited, 2 lakhs plus its share from the reserves and surplus of the subsidiary company. So what it is getting? 1,20,000 is getting. So 2 lakhs plus 1,20,000. So total will be what? 3,20,000. So you will be getting 3,20,000. So what I had done here, we had broken this share capital reserves and surplus into two parts. One part is going to share holding company, another part is going to minority. Reserves and surplus, the share you are transferring to reserves and surplus, whereas share capital, that is going to something called as your cost of control. There you are calculating the goodwill or capital reserve. Now here you are having one more thing which is called as your minority interest. So there is one more element which is something you are getting is called as your minority interest. Okay, minority interest. What is the total of minority interest we got? We got a minority interest of 1,20,000. So indirectly what I had done, if I observe, what is this 1,20,000? Let me put it here, 1,20,000, 1,20,000. So what is this 1,20,000 indirectly? See, 1,20,000 plus what is the share this person is getting? Holding company is also getting 1,20,000. So total, what is the share capital and reserves of subsidiary company? 1 lakh plus 3 lakhs. Total the reserves and share capital is going to be 3 lakhs. Now this 3 lakhs we are breaking up into three different segments. One is going to cost of control. So of this 1 lakh, 60% has been transferred to the cost of control. Okay, so now what else is there? 40,000 and 2 lakhs. So what is the total? 40,000 and 2 lakhs, 2 lakh 40,000. Now if you observe here, 1 lakh plus 1 lakh, 1 lakh 20,000 plus 1 lakh 20,000. What is this? This is nothing but 2 lakh 40,000. That means of the share capital and reserve, you remove the part of the share capital of holding company, transfer that to somewhere else. Remaining thing, whatever you are having, that you are bringing it to the holding company. Now, why? Because this part is going to the cost of control. There, that part I am adjusting with something called as my investments. So this part of 60,000 I am adjusting with my investment. So this you are adjusting because the share capital is 1 lakh, but the holding company is not holding entire 1 lakh, it is holding 60%. So what I need to do? Calculate 60%, adjust that, then I can know what is my cost in which with I am controlling. So here 60,000 for which I had invested 1 lakh. So ultimately what will happen? The difference is going to be my goodwill. Now already holding company is having a goodwill of 2 lakhs. Now what is the goodwill you are getting here? Due to this adjustment you got a goodwill of 40,000. Now I need to add this 40,000 as well. I need to add this 40,000 as well. Now if I do this, I had considered everything. See, we had added everything. Even we have added your share capital, even we have added your reserves, but not directly. That you are apportioning that to holding company, that you are apportioning to subsidiary, sorry, minority. Share capital, what you are doing? You are transferring the holding company share to something called as cost of control, and you are transferring the minority's control to something called as a minority interest. So ultimately I need to add up everything, but share capital we are transferring this to two different segments and we are adding it up. Now let us quickly do the total of your consolidated finance statements. Now let us see. 5 lakhs plus 3 lakh 20,000 plus 1 lakh 20,000 plus 3 lakhs plus 3 lakhs. Okay, plus 3 lakhs. So 15 lakh 40. Now 7 lakhs plus 2 lakh 40,000 plus 6 lakhs. So ultimately what? Your balance sheet got tallied. So what is the total there? 7 plus 2.4 plus 6. The total is going to be 15 lakhs 40,000. So 15 lakhs 40,000 is nothing but the total of your balance sheet. Now conclusions. You need to remember the conclusions from here. So what are the conclusions which you need to draw? Means points to be followed. Points to be followed when you prepare something called as your consolidated financial statements. What are the points to be followed? Point number one. Point number one. Point number one is what? Share capital, share of holding company. Okay, share of holding company in share capital of subsidiary company. So what I need to do? Share of holding company in share capital of subsidiary company I need to calculate. Then I need to offset this with something called as cost of investment of H Limited, that means holding company, in something called as S Limited, which is nothing but your subsidiary company. So take the share capital of that share capital, take the share of the holding company, offset this with something called as your investments in cost of investment of H Limited in S Limited. You may be getting goodwill or you may be getting something called as capital. We'll discuss when you will be getting goodwill in the above example. In the above example, I said you got a goodwill. Why? Because your cost of investment is more. You are investing more. Whenever cost of investment is more than share, then that will result in something called as goodwill. Whenever cost of investment is less than your share, then that will result in something called as capital reserve. That's what is the one thing. So now what we have done, taken the share capital, that you have taken the part that you are offsetting with the cost of investment. Now what else is there? Now there are two things: share capital, minority share, and total reserves and surplus. Now let us focus on your other points. Minority interest. Now reserves and surplus you are having, say, total three components you are having. Share capital you have, in that you are having holding company share, in that you are having minority interest share. Reserves and surplus also you are having holding company share, you are having minority interest share. This holding company share in the share capital, what I had done, I had taken this with my cost of investments. This we had offset, and this you are either calling this as the difference, you are calling that either as goodwill or you are either calling that as a capital reserve. That's it. Now coming to this part and this part. Okay, now if I focus on something called as minority interest, what I have to consider? This portion I have to consider. What is that portion? Share of minority in share capital of S Limited, I need to consider. Plus what else? This portion. What is that portion? Share of minority interest in reserves and surplus of S Limited. Now what we had done, entire capital we had considered, share capital. First portion of 60% is going to cost of control, remaining 40% is going to the minority interest. With this I had considered entire share capital. Now I had considered this portion of my reserves and surplus. What about this portion? Then that's what is your other point to be considered. Then share of H Limited in reserves and surplus of S Limited is to be considered as reserves and surplus of H Limited. So whatever share you are getting, that I need to consider as a reserves and surplus of H Limited. So this I need to transfer to the closing consolidated balance sheet and consider this as your part of reserves and surplus. These are the 4 points you need to remember. If you understand these 4 points, then rest of things are quite simple. Again I am explaining you with the above thing. See, we had added up everything apart from share capital, apart from reserves and surplus of the subsidiary company and investments. Take the share capital first. Divide 60%. So consider 60%. You are getting 60,000. That 60,000 is the share capital. Now 60,000, for this you are paying 1 lakh. So offset both. You are getting some capital reserve or you are getting some sort of goodwill. Then you are having a share capital of 40,000 and you are having a reserves and surplus of 2 lakhs. Then what I need to do? This 40,000 will be going to minority interest, and now coming to reserves and surplus, this reserves and surplus also belongs to two people, holding and subsidiary. So of this 60% is 1,20,000 and of this 40% is going to be 80. So this 1,20,000 will be added up to the reserves and surplus. That 80,000 along with the share of the share capital will be considered as a part of this. So that will be considered as a part of the minority interest. That's it. It's very simple. So that's what is the basic level. Now if this basic level is clear, gradually one by one we'll step into the advanced topics. We'll try to understand what is pre, what is post, etc. Mind you guys, this is very easy and very interesting chapter. And before getting into the advanced, I will give you few steps. How do you start with your consolidations problem? If you adopt these steps, then your balance sheet will be 100% will be tallied. There is no cases where your balance sheet will not be tallied. If it is not tallied, I will also tell you which steps you will be doing wrong. Clear? Now, step number 1 is very simple. Step number 1, it's very simple. Step number 1 is nothing. We need to take the date of acquisition. I will tell you why we are taking this. When we proceed further, I will explain you why we are considering the date of acquisition. What? Date of acquisition of H Limited in S Limited. Date of acquisition of shares by H Limited in S Limited. That's what is the first step. Second step is again very simple. There is nothing you are doing. Second step is something called as what? Calculation of something called as percentage of holding. This is also very easy and very important. So suppose in this case, in this present problem, take H Limited here, take minority here. Then in my next column, I'll be taking something called as number of shares. Total number of shares in subsidiary limited is going to be 10,000. Of this 10,000, what is happening? 6,000 shares were held by holding company, 4,000 shares were held by minority. Then the next column, I need to calculate something called as percentage of holding. So what I will do, 6,000 divided by 10,200, 4,000 divided by 10,200. So I'll be taking this as 60% and I will be taking this as 40%. That's what is nothing but your step number 2. Then step number 3. Step number 3. So what is my step number 3? The step number 3 is nothing but analysis of reserves and surplus of whom? Reserves and surplus of the subsidiary. Analyze the reserves and surplus of the subsidiary. Later on, I will explain how do I do the analysis of reserves and surplus. Okay, let me, okay, whatever problem we had done above, same thing now let us try to do in the below mentioned steps. What is step 3? Analysis of reserves and surplus of something called as S Limited. S Limited. Now, what is the reserves and surplus of S Limited? Let us quickly go to the above dummy balance sheet and see what is the reserves and surplus to be considered there. So the reserves and surplus is 2 lakhs. Now again, I'm minding you just purely an example, no adjustment. It's a basic level problem. Going forward, I'll try to make the things more advanced. So the reserves and surplus of S Limited is nothing but 2 lakhs. Now what I need to do, I need to split it across. I need to split this across H Limited, minority. Already we have calculated the interest above. We know that H Limited, the percentage of interest is 60%, M Limited, minority, the percentage of interest is going to be 40. Now, if I do this, H Limited, what? We'll be getting something called as 1,20,000 and we'll be getting something called as 80,000. 2 lakh into 60, 2 lakh into 40. So, what this will be happening? This will be going to something called as reserves and surplus of H Limited, which is nothing but your last step, and this will be going to something called as our minority interest, which is nothing but something called as our fourth step, step number 4. This will be going to step number 4, and this will be going to step number 5. This will be going to something called as step number 5, which is nothing but your last step. Some cases in this example, as I am having only total reserves and surplus, I had considered this entire thing as step number 3. Sometimes what will be happening, if you are having general reserve, if you are having profit and loss account, analysis of general reserve will be happening in step number 3. Analysis of profit and loss will be happening in your step number 4. In that case, you will be having total number of 6 steps. Okay. So, okay, let me put it like this only. So let us not call this as step number 4. Let us call this as step number 5. Because step number 4 is nothing but analysis of your P&L account. In this problem, I don't have analysis of my profit and loss account. That's the reason I'm not going to step number 4. I am doing entire thing in the step number 3 itself. Now, step number 4 is not applicable in the present case. Step number 4 is not applicable as profit and loss account is not given. Step number 4 is not applicable. Then we'll be getting into something called as step number 5. What is your step number 5? The step number 5 is something called as our minority interest. Step number 5 is something called as our minority interest. Now, how do I calculate the minority interest? Already we have discussed here. 2 things I need to consider. What? share of minority interest in the share capital, share of minority interest in the reserves and surplus. Now let us take that. Share of share capital, that means minority share in the share capital. What is the total share capital? The total share capital given was 1 lakh. The total share capital given the problem was 1 lakh. Of this 1 lakh, what is the minority share? 40%. So 1 lakh into, take this as 40%, you will be getting something called as 40,000. You will be getting what? 40,000. Then already in step 3 we had calculated one thing and we had transferred that to step 5. So ultimately what is that called as? Share of reserves and surplus, which is coming to be 80,000. Do the total here. The total is nothing but 1,20,000. So 1,20,000 is something called as our minority interest. This I need to show as a minority interest in the consolidated financial statement. Where I need to show? That I will explain at a later stage. Now we are going to understand how do we prepare, where do I present, how do I present, that gradually one by one we'll try to understand. So that's what is something called as calculation of your minority interest. Then step number 6. Okay, then one second. Yeah, here that's what is something called as the step number 5. And yeah, now here let me change the number. This won't be something called as the step number 6. This will be called as something called as step number 7, because now I need to do the most important step here. Step number 6. Step number 6. So what is my step number 6? Let us see. Step number 6 is something called as cost of control, because in the definition of your consolidated financial statement we had understood that control is the most important. I need to control. So when I am trying to control, what is the cost at which I am going to control? That's the reason what we are taking here, we are trying to consider share of holding company H Limited in share capital of subsidiary company. So share of minority we had considered in the minority interest. Now what I am doing, I am considering the balance of 60% here. So ultimately what I had done, total share capital has been considered. So that's what is the share. Now I am considering the investments in the H Limited. Cost of investments. What is the cost of investments? 1 lakh. See, there are rest of things which I need to do. Stay calm. I will explain that in a later stage. This is a basic example. I will extend this one by one. So in the next example, I will add a few more things and I will make the things slightly complicated. But remind you, consolidation is very, very easy if you follow these 7 steps. Now, cost of investments. Now, what I had mentioned, cost of investments, if it is greater than your share, the difference will be said to be called as goodwill, capital reserve, or you may be getting something called as goodwill. So if your cost of investment is more, you will be having goodwill. Cost of investment is less, I'll be calling that as a capital reserve. So in this given case, you are getting goodwill or capital reserve. So always your cost of control will either give you goodwill or this will give you capital reserve. If you are getting goodwill, consider this as an intangible asset. If you are getting capital reserve, then what? Let me put that here. If you are getting goodwill, show that as an intangible asset in the consolidated financial statements. If you are getting a capital reserve, take to step number 7. You have to take that to the step number 7 if you are getting something called as capital reserve. Now last step number 7 is nothing but reserves and surplus of what? Holding company. So step number 7 is purely of the holding company. Reserves and surplus of holding company to be shown in consolidated financial statements. So reserves and surplus of holding company to be shown in the consolidated financial statements. Now what I will consider, reserves and surplus of H Limited given in balance sheet. What is the reserves and surplus of holding company given in the balance sheet? If I go back to the problem, H Limited, what is the reserves given there? H Limited, the reserves is going to be 2 lakhs. I need to consider the reserves to be 2 lakhs there. So now let us consider here as 2 lakhs. Now if you observe what we had done, share capital we had considered holding company, minority we had considered. Reserves and surplus we had considered the minority, but now the portion of the holding company is still untouched. So here what I had mentioned, this 1,20,000 should be taken to step number 7. So now share of profits. Now let me add one word, revenue profit. Share of revenue profits of S Limited. Share of revenue profits. Share of revenue profits. Whose revenue profits? Of S Limited. What was that coming to? That was coming to 1,20,000. So 1,20,000. Now what is the total? The total was 3,20,000. Now if I prepare the balance sheet, what I will do? I will add up the assets and liabilities. Now in the balance sheet, what I will do? Reserves and surplus, I will just consider the reserves and surplus to be what? 3,20,000. Minority interest I will consider as 1,20,000. You need to refer that as you are working on. That's it. So if you follow these 7 steps, preparation of your consolidation finance statements will become quite easy. Now, as I mentioned, if your balance sheet is not tallied, you need to check your step number 3. You may be doing this sort of apportionments wrong. You may be doing the treatment of your dividend wrong. You may be doing the treatment of your bonus wrong. So ultimately, the troubleshooting should be done at your step number 3. If your step number 3 is absolutely right, then you may be doing some sort of wrongs in your step number 4. Here also there may be some sort of dividend, etc., etc. Even if your step number 4 is right, you might have done some sort of wrong in your step number 5. You need to check whether the entire amount you are bringing it properly or not. Okay, you need to check your step number 5. If step number 5 is also right, then ultimately you could have done the wrong in your last step. What is your last step? Step number 6. Or you might have done some wrong in your cost of control. So ideally the wrong can happen in step number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So generally, most fundamentally, reserves and surplus, this 3 and 4th step, you need to check. Generally 90% of cases your wrong will be there in your step number 3 and step number 4. 100% of the cases, because coming to cost of control, you are bringing it from there. You are bringing the share here. So ideally cost of control, whatever capital profits you are having, you are bringing from above. So the transferring entries you need to check. Basically 3rd and 4th step you may be going for wrong. So that's what is the basic part. I hope this is clear. So now we'll try to step ahead and try to add one by one so that we can have a complete flavor of how do I prepare the consolidated finance statement. Then at the end, we'll discuss how do we present as per schedule 3. Clear?